A mom has said the horrific conditions at her flat make her want to take her own life at times. Rosemary, who asked for her surname to not be shared, moved into her flat in North London just over 2 years ago now, and, within 10 days, the family had a heavy leak coming down through her kitchen ceiling. However, that was only the beginning of the issues the family was to experience at the Peabody Housing Association property in Muswell Hill, reports My London. The single mum has also been having problems with the boiler, being left without hot water, and Rosemary said her kids, aged 7 and 15, constantly complain about the water being too cold. Peabody Housing Association has apologized for the issues and says it is working to tackle the issues. Rosemary desperately tried to catch the water as it came pouring down through the ceiling. Image, My London WS. But in the meantime, Rosemary claims things took a dramatic turn for the worse at the beginning of the year when her son's bedroom was hit by flood damage. She said the damage resulted in them sleeping her in and the mum being forced to sleep on the floor. Rosemary said, "First, the bathroom radiator wasn't working. They came and they tried to fix it, but it still just comes on now and again. The radiator in the kids' bedroom is constantly leaking as well. With the hot water, when you put your hand under it, it's warm. But seconds later when you put it on your body, it's cold." Landlord discovers giant 7-foot snake hiding in piles of rubbish left by tenants. Mum living under siege from giant rats and drug addicts smoking crack on doorstep. The mum of 2 said the lack of hot water in the property has led to huge issues for the family, and her sons struggle to wash properly before going to. She said it's extremely upsetting and her kids constantly complain about the water being too cold. Rosemary also claimed the heating in her North London flat does not work properly. This is a huge issue, as she claims the back door to the property hasn't been sealed properly, meaning the flat gets cold very quickly. This is the state Rosemary's son's room was left in following a devastating leak. Image, My London WS. Most read. Man defeated after unknowingly scoffing Cadbury cream egg worth up to £10,000. Russian coup could send Vladimir Putin to the grave or retirement, ex-minister warns. Kate Middleton's groveling apology after being scolded over her outfit choice. She added, "There's such a big gap around it, they tried to patch it up but it didn't work. I've got slugs coming through the gap." According to Rosemary, the conditions in her flat took a dramatic turn on January 2, earlier this year, when her son's bedroom was hit by devastating flood. Rosemary explained that the flood damage mashed up everything in the room, including the children's beds, lights and their possessions. Couple transformed dilapidated house abandoned for 30 years, and it's unrecognizable. Families outline horrors of being trapped in homes plagued by damp and rats. As a result, her 2 sons have been living without beds ever since, and she has given them her bed to sleep in. Now, she has been forced to sleep on the floor. "I had to give up my bed. That room is completely out of use," Rosemary said. Rosemary is a vulnerable tenant, with a long history of depression, anxiety and OCD. Rosemary explained that the state of disrepair and constant leaks in her flat has had a detrimental effect on her mental health. Image, My London WS. Don't miss. Russian coup could send Vladimir Putin to the grave or retirement, ex-minister warns. 6 things the government has sneaked out during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Heartbroken parents lost strong unborn baby boy just 2 weeks before due date. Mum and 3 sons living in toxic mold-infested flat so bad they share a sofa bed. She does not feel Peabody is taking her mental health considerations into account and said her living conditions have pushed her to a new low. Tearfully, Rosemary said, "It's long-term, but since I moved to that property it's been really bad. I've got days when I want to commit suicide. As soon as I get home, there are days when I've wanted to take my own life." Sign up to our newsletter to get the day's biggest news straight to your inbox. The Mirror's newsletter brings you the latest news, exciting showbiz and TV stories, sport updates and essential political information. The newsletter is emailed out first thing every morning, at 12 noon and every evening. Never miss a moment by signing up to our newsletter here. Originally from Jamaica, Rosemary has no family in the UK she can turn to for help. She said she has worked hard to make her home comfortable to live in, though the constant state of disrepair has made it almost impossible to go on living. Rosemary added, "I don't want to move out, but with the conditions, I have to move." A spokesperson from the Peabody Housing Association said, "We are very sorry about the ongoing issues with Rosemary's home and understand her concerns, which we're trying to resolve. Our surveyor and repairs contractor visited the property again yesterday to carry out a full inspection, and we will be starting a program of work straight away to fix these issues. Our local team will also be contacting Rosemary to provide any extra support she needs. We are aware of the leak and hot water issues affecting the property and are working to get this resolved as quickly as possible. We're committed to proactively tackling problems like this and investing in people's homes for the long term." Read more. Inside eerie and decaying house of books, filled with long abandoned belongings. Read more. Mom living in hell in tiny flat with son who has tried to jump out window 30 times.